A lot of people have said that if we really want to save the planet, then we should all give up eating meat and become vegetarians or vegans. I don't think many of these people have really thought it through entirely, I'd have to say. There are various issues. I mean, one of them is, of course, livestock in farming systems in Africa, for example. They have multiple roles, and sort of actually people eating livestock products is only part of those roles. You have manure is used for fertilizer, it's used for fuel in some places. In fact, smallholder mixed systems, they depend on livestock being there, and if you just sort of take out livestock, then all kinds of things are going to happen to food security and to livelihoods. And there's the other issue, well, there are many other issues. Another issue is just think about the counterfactual. So if you take off you have the rangelands of East Africa, say, and you remove all the cattle, then what's going to happen to populations of other ungulates? So these animals also fart. They also produce methane. And so if you get rid of cattle, then chances are there are going to be huge increases in populations of wild ungulates. And so, in fact, if you do the calculations, and we haven't done those calculations yet, but we probably should do, what would actually happen to the net amount of greenhouse gas emitted? And that's also not to take into account termites. And termites they consume something like 30% of the rangeland, just as a matter of course. And again, if you take cattle off, you'll get enormous increases in numbers of termites who also produce methane. So what's the balance here? And so I think just to say, we should all become vegetarian, it's not necessarily going to really be the answer.
We need to know one other thing as well. How, if we stop eating meat and we start eating beans, what's the impact on human-based methane emissions? So I think we need to know that before we can make any statements.